The wind was restless that afternoon on the ferry deck, as if it sensed something extraordinary was about to happen. The sunlight shimmered over the sea like scattered diamonds, dancing with the waves, whispering secrets of distant shores. People moved around lazily, taking pictures, sipping tea from paper cups, lost in their own worlds, until a single trembling voice sliced through the calmness and froze everything for a heartbeat. A girl in a worn-out wheelchair, her frail hands gripping the armrests, her brown eyes filled with longing and unspoken stories, looked up at the sharply dressed CEO standing near the railing. Her voice was soft, almost swallowed by the wind, yet powerful enough to batter through every invisible wall around him. "Sir, can you lift me up to see the sky?" she asked, her words trembling but hopeful. In that one moment, the world seemed to stop, confused whether to watch the waves or witness a miracle. If you believe kindness can change a life, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Stories of Kindness. Your support helps us spread hope and second chances. The girl's name was Ariana Vale, 17 years old, born with a rare spinal condition that left her lower body paralyzed. She had spent most of her life seeing the world through windows and screens, watching skies she couldn't chase. Her mother worked double shifts at a small community clinic, and Ariana spent her days sketching skies she could never physically reach. Yet what she lacked in motion, she made up for in imagination. Her notebooks filled with clouds shaped like dragons and sunsets that seemed to carry secret meanings. The doctors said she would never walk, but Ariana didn't mind that as much as she minded never being able to see things the way others did, from the top of a hill, from a rooftop, from a deck railing where the world stretched open in all directions. She longed for that feeling of being lifted, of weightlessness, of freedom, just once. The CEO was Ronald Crest, a man whose life had been shaped by ambition, deadlines, and decisions worth millions. He rarely bothered to look at people deeply. He had no time for small emotional moments, no patience for interruptions in his tightly woven routine. He was on that ferry only because his private helicopter had been grounded for maintenance, and he was irritated by the inconvenience. He stood at the deck's edge, checking emails, when Ariana's request hit him like a physical blow. For a moment, he didn't understand why a complete stranger wanted him, of all people, to help. But then he looked at her, really looked, and something inside him cracked open silently, painfully, unexpectedly. Ariana watched him, unsure if she had crossed a line. All her life she had learned to ask quietly, carefully, respectfully, because asking often meant rejection. But today, as the ferry glided across the sparkling sea, something inside her dared her to be brave. She wanted to see the sky without the metal frame of her wheelchair blocking the view. She wanted to feel the wind kiss her face fully, without barriers. She wanted to be lifted, not only physically, but emotionally, above the heaviness that life had placed on her too early. Ronald took a step toward her. His expensive shoes tapped against the deck with sounds he never noticed before. He crouched down, meeting her eyes on the same level. "You want to see the sky?" he asked, his voice a little rougher than usual. Ariana nodded, her smile small but radiant. And just like that, without thinking of the board meetings or the emails waiting for him or the people who might be watching, Ronald gently placed his arms around her, carefully lifting her from the wheelchair. The deck fell silent. Tourists paused mid-conversation. A child stopped crying. Even the gulls seemed to hesitate mid-flight. Ariana felt the world rise beneath her. For the first time in her life, she wasn't bound by metal wheels or hospital. Words. She felt the wind brush through her hair like an old friend she had waited too long to meet. The sky opened above her, blue, endless, forgiving, as if welcoming her into a place she had dreamed of since she was 5. Tears filled her eyes, not of sadness but of overwhelming freedom. Ronald held her securely, realizing that she weighed much less than the burdens he carried daily. "It's beautiful," Ariana whispered, her voice full of awe. Ronald looked up too, and realized he hadn't really seen the sky in years. For a long moment the two stood together, one girl seeking freedom, one man rediscovering humanity, bound by nothing but a shared moment of pure, fragile kindness. But life does not unfold like a perfect movie. The story was far from over. When Ronald gently returned Ariana to her wheelchair, she thanked him with a sincerity that made his chest ache. But as he stood up, he noticed the side of her wheelchair frame was cracked, weak, rusting, no longer safe. Ariana casually pulled her shawl over it, as if trying to hide the problem the way she had hidden so many struggles before. Ronald felt something twist inside him. He looked around and saw an older woman standing near the doorway, watching with a mix of exhaustion and love. That was Ariana's mother, Dr. Marissa Vale, returning from a double shift, her medical scrubs wrinkled, her back hunched in a way that told stories of too many sacrifices. Ronald approached her. She immediately looked worried. Was her daughter in trouble? Did she disturb him? Had she asked for something inappropriate? Before she could speak, Ronald softly reassured her that everything was fine. Marissa apologized repeatedly, embarrassed that her daughter had approached a stranger, but Ronald shook his head. "She didn't disturb me," he said quietly. "She reminded me." The ferry continued moving across the glittering water, but Ronald felt stuck in the moment. Ariana's cracked wheelchair haunted him. The way Marissa's hands trembled as she apologized haunted him. The sunlight shimmering on Ariana's tear-damp cheeks haunted him. He felt something old in his chest, something he had buried under documents and deadlines many years ago, begin to awaken. As they docked, Ronald couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to do more, not out of pity, but because Ariana had given him something priceless, a moment of clarity. So he followed them, not too closely, but enough to see how Marissa struggled to wheel Ariana down the ramp, how the cracked frame creaked dangerously. Ariana laughed through it, pretending everything was fine, because she didn't want her mother to worry more than she already did. Ronald felt his throat tighten. He approached them again before they boarded the bus. "Wait," he said, and both of them turned. Ariana smiled brightly, unaware of the storm brewing in Ronald's heart. Marissa looked confused. Ronald took a deep breath and said the words that would change their lives. "Let me help you, please." Marissa hesitated. She had learned the hard way that help usually came with hidden costs or silent judgments. Ronald sensed this and gently explained that he wasn't offering charity, he was offering gratitude. Ariana had reminded him what truly mattered, and he wanted to honor that moment. Slowly, very slowly, Marissa nodded. Over the next weeks, Ronald arranged for a state-of-the-art motorized wheelchair for Ariana, lightweight, comfortable, equipped with safety features she had never imagined. He also coordinated with a rehabilitation center, offering them full sponsorship for therapies that could improve Ariana's mobility and breathing. He visited often, sometimes quietly sitting in the waiting room, sometimes standing behind Ariana as she practiced moving across the therapy hall. Ariana never once asked for anything more. She only thanked him again and again, her innocent gratitude piercing through all the layers of corporate armor he had built around himself. But something deeper was happening too. Ronald found his life shifting. He started noticing small things, the color of the sky each morning, the warmth of sunlight on his office windows, the way people smiled when they felt seen. He realized he had spent years looking at screens instead of faces, at numbers instead of emotions. Ariana had lifted him up too, though she never realized it. One afternoon during her therapy session, Ariana lost her balance while transferring from the wheelchair. Ronald rushed forward instinctively, catching her before she fell. She looked at him, embarrassed but smiling. "You're always there," she whispered. Ronald realized that those 3 words meant more to him than any award he had ever received. As weeks turned into months, Ariana grew stronger, not to walk, but to dream bigger. She began drawing again, this time sketching skies she had actually seen from elevated platforms in her therapy center. She started writing small notes of encouragement for other children in the rehabilitation ward. She found joy in places she never imagined, and Ronald found purpose in watching her light up the world around her. One bright afternoon, Ronald took Ariana and Marissa back to the same ferry. The ocean glowed beneath the sun, and a soft breeze carried the scent of salt and new beginnings. Ariana rolled her new wheelchair onto the deck, marveling at how smooth it felt. Ronald watched her with a proud yet emotional smile. When they reached the railing, Ariana stopped. She turned to Ronald, her eyes shining like they had on the first day. "Can I ask you something?" she said softly. Ronald nodded. Ariana lifted her face toward the open sky, glowing in shades of gold and white. "This time," she said with a gentle smile, "can we look at the sky together?" Ronald felt something in his chest break open again, but in the best possible way. He stepped beside her, resting his hand on the railing near hers. Together they looked at the sky, two people from different worlds, connected by a moment of pure kindness that changed both their lives forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Your engagement helps these emotional stories reach more souls who need hope. Special request, please comment, "Kindness lives on," if you believe even small actions can rewrite someone's destiny. And so, under the wide, forgiving daytime sky, the girl in the wheelchair and the once hardened CEO stood side by side, reminding the world that sometimes the smallest request can lead to the biggest change. And sometimes, helping someone see the sky teaches you how to finally see your own.